I was reading this plan on YouVersion, which is a Bible app I use on my phone, and it's planned by a pastor in Washington, D.C. His name's Mark Batterson. He recently released a book called Win the Day, and it's this devotional series that I've been doing through the different main points of his book. And one of the points, his second point of his book is called Kiss the Wave. And I think it's so relevant to just share a little bit about that point, this idea of kissing the wave today in our deep dive in 5. Thanks so much for joining us here at Christ Church of Flagstaff. You are in the middle, day 36, the last week of 40 days of powerful worship experience. We started this beginning of our year. All the printed devos are at ccuf.church/2021, ccuf.church/2021. Love for you to look at those, check them out. And whether you're here on YouTube or wherever you're listening to this podcast, audio ways, please share, like. This has been some great stuff that anyone can use at any time. So we're glad you're here. And kiss the wave. We're talking today about praise and worship. That's our topic on Mondays. And this idea of kiss the wave, Batterson says, comes from Charles Spurgeon. It's a quote from Charles Spurgeon, who lived many, many years ago as a great and influential preacher. He said, "I have learned to kiss the wave that throws me against the Rock of Ages." And the Rock of Ages is a name for God. It's a reference to a great hymn in Spurgeon's day. And Spurgeon actually suffered severely from depression and anxiety. And we think those things are so unspiritual, but they're very real. And many of us struggle with similar things today or different things. And Batterson's whole point of kissing the wave, and what Spurgeon said in that quote, is that you and I have waves that come in our life. We have things that are hard, and it might be like many others, like Spurgeon himself. It might be depression. It might be anxiety. It might just be this pandemic we find ourselves in. This maybe it's your job has been different. A relationship is really difficult. A physical diagnosis, a health thing. Maybe you got COVID. Maybe probably someone you know died from COVID this past year, or from cancer or some other thing. That it's just the world we live in. Friends, it's broken, and waves come and they crash us against rocks, and it's hard. Sometimes that wave is coming because we just live in this broken world. Sometimes it's our enemy, the forces of evil that are real and exist, and they bring waves that crash over us. Maybe it's just the result of my own sin, my own choices, my own rebellion against God. Maybe it's some combination of all three. I don't see these waves that crash against me as God's plan. So some people do, and some people say there's a reason for everything, and God causes all things to happen. I think that there is evil in this world. I think there's my own choices, and I think there's just the brokenness of the world around us. And I see God's plan being worked in those waves, but I just don't think that God caused them. And here's the challenge for today. Can you kiss the wave? Can you be grateful? Can you praise and worship God in the midst of the wave? The wave of your own sin, the wave that comes because our world is broken, because pandemics happen. They've happened before. They'll happen again. And can you, in the midst of the wave, look at God and still praise and worship him? Every week on Mondays, we've talked about songs. We've talked about praise and worship. Other people have shared. I've shared. And we've given you ways that you can praise and worship. But I want to ask you, when can you praise and worship? Just when it's good? Just at a church service online or on Sundays? Just during a podcast, you're like, thanks God. Just in your quiet time, can you praise all the time? Even in the hard times, when someone's done something to you, you've done something to someone. Can you worship always? Isaiah says it this way, and here's where we'll end our time today. He says in chapter 26 of his prophecy, "You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast, because they trust in you." Trust in the Lord forever. For the Lord For Yahweh himself is the rock eternal, the rock of ages, the one that no matter what the waves bring us is good. So will you praise him today, no matter what is happening?